Brandon Stubbs for TheTitleFight.com, speaking with Mike, yes indeed, Reed, former amateur standout, now pro. We talked to him about his upcoming bout here on September 7th, his road to becoming a pro and his amateur background, his friendship with heavyweight contender Seth "Mayhem" Mitchell, and the boxing scene in the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area. Now, you're going to have your 5th career fight here on September 7th against Santo Domingo. They're at the Rosecraft Raceway there in Fort Washington, Maryland. In preparing for this bout, what traits about him have you noticed that you can either expose or you need to watch out for going into this bout?
Well, I watched his last fight on YouTube, and in his last fight, I saw that he had real long arms. He threw real wide punches, so I could counter easily off of that. He's a shorter guy. Normally, with me fighting 140, a lot of the people are actually taller than me. But he's actually a shorter guy, so I get the boxer be more versatile in attack. So that's something I noticed.
Now, is this going to be at 140, this bout?
Yes. The contract weight is actually 140.
Okay. Now, is that the weight class that you kind of see yourself fitting into the next couple years as you kind of grow as a pro and get more fights under your belt, or is that the class you're kind of focusing on and plan on staying there? Could you go down? Do you want to go up? Where do you kind of see, for the next couple years, the right weight class for you to make that impact?
I actually believe the right weight class for me to make it is 135, but I know a lot of people that turn pro and the amateurs, they actually want to start fighting pro at a smaller weight class. But I've been fighting 140 pounds since 2009, between 2009 and 2010. So I'm growing accustomed to being comfortable at 140. I know how to make it easy. So I'm real comfortable at 140. But making 135 isn't a big deal. I actually waited at 139, and I felt great. My second pro fight, I waited at 139 my second pro fight. So like I said, 135 is no problem for me.
Right on. Now, you said, the fight in the different weight classes as an amateur, you got to travel all across the country. You won countless tournaments, national championship honors, and what have you. Now, looking back on those years, what do you think is the biggest takeaway you have from that time frame as an amateur that has really helped you, so far this year in your first year as a pro?
I would say my Olympic trials experience. Going into the Olympic trials, I was one of the favorites. And I was ranked number 2. It was the top 8 guys in the nation at the time, and I was ranked number 2. And unfortunately, I didn't make the Olympic team. But that whole experience, it showed me that I had to do more than what I was doing in the gym, and that just made me push myself even harder.
Now, you said, you didn't make the Olympics here for 2012, unfortunately. You decided here this year to turn pro. Was it a difficult choice, to stop training and aiming for those Olympics in 2016? Or did you just know, okay, it's now or never, this is the time I need to make that turn and go pro?
Well, it was a difficult decision because based on my age, I'm only 20 years old, so it would be enough for me to be 24 years old, remain an amateur, get that Olympic experience or shoot for that Olympic experience again. But with me being so close and falling so short, like, that kind of hurt me. So I was like, I didn't want to, in my mindset, I didn't want to experience that again because I knew it was a possibility. And coming up through the amateurs, I've always gotten stronger as the rounds progressed. So it was said that I had a better suited style for the pros. I was just adapting to the amateurs, so I thought that I had a better style for the pros, so I thought I would do better in the pros.
And something I do want to touch on and get your opinion on, in America, we really don't have that strong, amateur system that the other European countries have, to where we're not, pushing out the boxing products we used to years ago. Back when I was younger, because I'm a lot older than you. But we don't have that anymore. So you're a young guy. You just came out of that, that system and kind of that path of our amateurs. What do you think? As America, what we need to do as far as getting more youth involved in boxing and building that boxing program back up to where we actually can medal in both women's and women's boxing, come the 2016 Olympics and going forward?
Right. I definitely agree with you. We haven't been putting out the same caliber of fighters, but honestly, the fighters they're there. Like if you went to the national tournaments and you would see, like you would be like, okay, well, I definitely see potential. It's just a lot of the time the fighters we're fighting a system, and the best fighter sometimes doesn't win the fight because you have another fighter who's perfected the system down. And if they just perfected the system down, then they'll beat the other fighter who hasn't perfected the system 9 times out of 10. And another thing I think that really affected it was another thing that I think really affected it was the fact that Team USA, we really don't have that many international trips. I was on Team USA for 2 years, and I fought in 2 international trips, international bouts, and 2 bouts in 2 years is really not that many fights. And I think us fighting international will help a lot. And I believe Team USA is definitely doing it because I follow them on Twitter. I'm still close to them because I was a member for 2 years, so I still have close ties to many of the representatives from there. So they're definitely doing the right thing with having more fights international, because international boxing is different. Like you get wrapped up a lot more, and to a kid that's 18, 19 years old on Team USA that's just experiencing it's a shock, and that can be a lot for a kid.
Absolutely. I can definitely see that. Kind of see that different styles from those different countries. It's a lot more harsher for them over in Europe as far as their training, their sparring goes, to where, you guys go over there. It's a culture shock for you.
Right. It definitely is.
All right, now you're trained here by your father, Michael Benson. You guys are out of the Dream Team Boxing Gym there in the DMV area. Now, is it hard for you to have your father as a trainer, and how do you two separate, the trainer boxer from the father and son aspect of it?
Yeah, I think that's a real hard thing to do. We really haven't perfected it, but I know that he has my best interest as a father, and I know he has my best interest as a trainer. So I give full credit to him. Sometimes he gets too much because with me, I was living with my dad, so he would discipline me as a father, and then he would discipline me as a trainer. So it was a lot. So now one of the things that we've actually done is I moved my mom, so he still disciplines me as a father, but it's a lot less. So I get him disciplining me as a trainer more, and that helps out a lot.
Right on. Now also out of that gym, we know, American heavyweight Seth Mayhem Mitchell. That's his home gym. Now, I don't know how much of an occasion you've had to be around him, but has he dropped any, pieces of knowledge upon you as a young fighter, or things that you should look out for, or any kind of tips with you coming up in the ranks?
Yeah, most definitely. Actually, me and Seth, we both live in the same area, so a lot of the time I go running with Seth, and when we during that time, like before we run, we'll just sit and have a talk. Seth is he's like a big brother to me. One of the things that he told me about boxing, because he's experienced it, he just was like, don't rush for anything, because he sees me, he sees I have a lot of experience, I have a lot of talent in boxing. He just was like, don't rush for nothing, take my time, just be patient. And I learned that from him. I learned being patient, and I learned work ethic, because Seth, he's not a lot older than me, but he's a little bit older than me, and with him having a Michigan State background, he knows what hard work is. And yeah, I can look at him and I can see Seth does it right. He works really hard, and me and him, we get in a competition. Even though I'm a lot smaller than him and I may run faster than him, I know he's on my heels, and I know if I slip up, he's going to try to catch me. So we have a good friendly competition there.
Now, with you guys both being from the same area, the DMV, and for our listeners here at TheTitleFight.com, that is not the Department of Motor Vehicle. That's Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia. Now, how is the boxing scene out there? I mean, is there really Is there a talent pool of hungry young fighters just really just needing a chance? What is it like out there in your area?
Oh yeah, you hit it right on the head. The talent in the DMV area is just crazy, and I'm not saying it because I'm from down here. Just in the Olympic trials alone, it was 10 weight classes. There was 10 weight classes in the DMV area. We had 9 guys participating in the Olympic trials. So that was something that was huge. None of us made the Olympic team, but when we for the national tournament, they do the DMV, Washington D.C. team. You had to have your A game to see fighting any one of them, like anyone, like, and even we could go too deep, like in some weight classes. If it wasn't our top guy, it was a guy right behind him, and he was placing in the national tournament. So we definitely have a good boxing team going on down here. A lot of us turn pro now, and we're busy down here as far as pro shows as well. I turned pro in March the 2nd. I made my pro debut, and since then, when I had my fight on September 7th, it would be my 5th fight. So I'm trying to stay busy, and all I was in the area. So it shows pretty much every month. So we're just trying to put off our trade.
Absolutely. I mean, in that way, for young fighters, that's the best way of coming up is fighting in your area, load the card with local talent, build that buzz, build your name locally, and obviously that'll grow, and that demand will grow across the country to where other people will want to see you. Now, another thing that I learned about you is you're also a student athlete. You're also going to college right now as well. Now, at a man of your age, how tough is that juggling trying to be a professional athlete at a high level and also, hitting the books and trying to get a degree in accounting?
It was one of the hardest things that I've done. It's continuing to be one of the hardest things that I'm doing, actually. My first semester in college, I liked it. Even though it was a community college, I still enjoyed going to school. I've always enjoyed going to school. I don't know if it's because of interacting with my peers or the burden. I'm not sure, but I enjoy going to school. So my first semester in college, it was cool. Everything was cool. Even though it was difficult, I enjoyed it, and my grades were pretty decent. But it was a lot. It was a lot trying to juggle boxing and school. So what I did was I stopped taking lecture courses, and I took all web courses. And that was something that I shouldn't have done because that was hard. Like taking classes over the internet is really hard for me. And so that's one of the things that I have to work on. But right now I'm back on track and taking lecture courses. So just trying to do both.
First question is this. We got pretty much maybe the biggest event ever in boxing a week after your fight here on September 14th with the One. How do you see the main event playing out between Mayweather and Canelo? And do you think that Garcia and Matisse will steal the show on the pay-per-view?
I'll go with the second question first. I actually do think Matisse and Garcia will steal the show. We have 2 explosive fighters. I mean, just what they've done over the past year or so, they just explosive. I don't think that fight will go to distance. I don't even think that fight will go more than 6 rounds, but I think it will steal the show. As far as Floyd and Canelo, I see Floyd beating him with wisdom. Floyd's so classy. I mean, and I watch Floyd a lot because he's so classy. We haven't seen Canelo react to anything like Floyd. We haven't seen anybody react to anything like Floyd. So I think Floyd is a little older than Canelo, so he'll drop some knowledge on him. I think he'll drop some boxing knowledge on him. Unanimous decision. I think we'll see Canelo get frustrated for the first time, like really frustrated and bothered. I think Floyd will win that decision.
Couldn't agree with you more there. I honestly see it's going to play out exactly like that, and I kind of wonder how much gas Canelo's going to have in the tank because he's going to have to be doing a lot of movement, a lot of trying to catch Floyd, and I think he's going to burn himself out. So I completely agree with you there.
Right, yeah.
Now, what 3 artists or 3 albums do you have to listen to either while you're running, while you're getting your training, your sparring in? What do you have to listen to? I'll give you 3 artists. I'm not gonna blackball you and make you just do one. 3 artists that you have to listen to while you're working out, while you're sparring, while you're getting your training on.
3 artists I have to listen to. Jay-Z is my favorite artist, so anything Jay-Z, I'm all over it. Drake has come along as one of my favorite artists too. Drake is versatile, and Wale, I like Wale a lot because he's versatile. And I was listening to Wale before he actually made his national appearance, so it's good to see how Wale started from the area, and he's doing big things with the music industry. So I listen to Wale for motivation as well.
All right, now the last one we're gonna get you out on is your Mount Rushmore boxing. 4 people in boxing that if you had to carve their face in stone on a giant mountain that you would want up there. Now these are just your 4. They don't have to be the 4 greatest of all time, but 4 men or women or people a part of the sport period that made you fall in love with the sport and the art of boxing.
Diego Corrales. I put Diego Corrales in it because I was young when he saw Castillo, and the heart that he showed in that fight was just amazing. So I put Diego Corrales in there. I put Muhammad Ali in there because what he did for the sport, which is unreal. You still have like guys like Floyd, they imitate Muhammad Ali as far as trash talking, as far as the showmanship. So I put Muhammad Ali in there. I put Sugar Ray Leonard in there because I think Sugar Ray Leonard in his era, he was the best in his era. So I definitely put Sugar Ray Leonard in there. And my last would be Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson, either you loved him or you hated him. And growing up, my dad didn't like him, so I didn't like him. But he was amazing. And what he did for that heavyweight division, and how he just annihilated people with his style, it was amazing. So that was my 4.
All right. Well, where can the fans follow you at? Anybody you want to shout out? Anybody you want to thank?
Well, first I want to thank Lord for giving me this interview. I want to thank my dad for making me actually stay into boxing. When I first came to the gym, I was a little fat kid, 10 years old, weighing 105 pounds. So discipline, I didn't want no parts of it. My dad saw I had talent, and he kept me in the gym.
Right on. Right. You got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. The fans can start following you on.
Yeah. Twitter and Instagram is YesIndeed_Reed, and my Facebook is Mike YesIndeed Reed. That's how you can get in touch with me.
Right on. Well, again, this is TheTitleFight.com talking with Mike YesIndeed Reed. We appreciate you taking out time with us here today.
All right, no problem. Thank you.